Senhoras e senhores, sejam muito bem-vindos ao Ibagenscast dessa sexta-feira, um Ibagenscast extremamente especial, no qual eu entrevisto um dos meus ídolos de adolescência, enfim. Quem fala aqui é o Manu, e antes de eu introduzir o nosso ilustre convidado, eu vou pedir para você se inscrever no canal, ativar as notificações, deixar o like, nos seguir nas redes sociais, quem quiser e puder contribuir com o nosso trampo via Pix, beleza? Bom, nosso convidado é um dos maiores nomes da história do prog metal, ele que é o vocalista de uma das bandas da minha vida, e para mim ainda é meio inacreditável que eu estou entrevistando ele. Estou falando, obviamente, do James Labrie, do Dream Theater. How are you doing, James? Really nice to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I wish I could have understood even a little bit of that. But no, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah.
So, are you in the US right now, right?
No, I'm in Canada. I live in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah. So I've always lived here in Canada, and the rest of the guys, they live down in the States. Yeah.
ah, nice, nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, to start this interview, we're recording this interview in August 22, right? So you're getting ready for these shows you're going to make with Dream Theater here in Brazil.
Right.
It's a cliche question, but you know, how excited are you to make contact with the Brazilian audience once again after such a long time, especially after the pandemics?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we've had an amazing relationship with all of South America, and our first time into South America was into Brazil. We came to Brazil in 1998, and ever since then, we've had an amazing relationship with our fans throughout Brazil, and we've played several concerts there over the years. So every time we come back, I mean, it's amazing. It's like rekindling an old friendship, so to speak. And so we always look forward to it. We always know that we're gonna, go out there and kick some serious butt and just have a great time. And the whole time that we've been coming down back and forth and back and forth. I mean, it never fails to amaze us, just the enthusiasm and the excitement of our fans every time we come through. So, I mean, to us, it's very rewarding to come down, play some amazing shows, be able to interact with our fans from Brazil, and just have a great time, something that's memorable. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So you came back to the stage with Dream Theater in February last
Yeah.
year, right?
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
such a long time, after the pandemics, did you have that impression of something, that sensation of something new, getting back to stage,
Yeah.
or no, was just taking it back from where you stopped?
Yeah. To us, it was a little bizarre to get back out there, and like it's almost like you're just being thrown back into the game, like you haven't played football for so long, and then all of a sudden you're back on the field and you're playing, right? And for us, it was that strange sensation because you had been removed almost 2 years from doing what you've always done. It all felt new. It almost felt like doing your first big show in high school in your band, your rock band, in front of the high school, because you had those butterflies, you had that nervousness. But once we got out on stage and we started playing the first song, everything came online again. We all felt at home. We all realized at that moment, because I remember speaking to the guys after the show, how much we had missed this, and I actually said that night on stage, I said, you don't realize how much you miss something until you get back into it.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a multitude of emotions going on, feelings, stuff that you hadn't thought about in so many years, and all of a sudden it was back right in your face just because of the circumstances. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
during this COVID time, did you get COVID? And as a singer, did it ever scare you at some point in any way from a vocal point of view?
Yeah, well, I'd spoken with some other singers that had COVID, and they said that their voice was pretty screwed up from it. But I guess eventually it came back online for those guys. But yeah, I did. I had COVID. I'm 100%. I'm sure I had COVID before we even knew what COVID was, because
Oh.
I remember coming home from a tour and being really sick. Like, I mean, sicker than I'd ever been in my entire life. And I remember saying to my wife, I go, I don't know what's going on here. I've never felt like this in my entire life. And I actually went to my doctor, and I saw my doctor, and he goes, yeah, there's a lot of people coming in lately with these symptoms, and we don't know what it is, but you seem like healthy. They took an x-ray of my lungs, and they said, your lungs look fine. You look good. Aside from feeling like crap, which is what I did, and being tired all the time. I had absolutely no energy, no energy. And But I mean, uh, for a bit there, I thought I had mono. I don't know if you know what mono is, but it's an acute. It's like a virus that you can pick up, but mono, it creates this extreme tiredness, and you can have it anywhere from several weeks to several months, and that's what I thought I had. But it took me a good 8 weeks, maybe 9 weeks, to get over
Wow.
feeling like I did. And then all of a sudden, I was back touring in Europe during the Distance Over Time tour.
Mhm.
And then we started hearing about this virus. We started hearing about, hey, there's this thing, COVID, that might be, you know, taking the world on and creating an unprecedented situation. And sure enough, COVID happened. And I remember when it happened and I started reading about all these people's symptoms, I remember saying, I had that, I had that, I had that, I had that, you know? So I think I had it.
And to come back, you compared it to football, and
Yeah.
we joke that prog metal is a very complex sport. So to come back and with the same rhythm, and
Yeah.
how did you prepare to come back?
Well, I mean, you prepare like you always have, I mean, anybody, any musician, whether you're a guitar player, drummer, bass player, keyboard player, singer, whatever it is, whatever your instrument is, um, you find a way to get yourself to where you want to be and where you need to be to go out and perform at your best. I mean, you can't help it if you're sick and you're trying to get to your best. I mean, if you're sick, you do whatever you can to be able to perform and still be able to put on a relatively decent show, even though you're compromised. But we all have our regiments. We all have our rituals that we do to warm up. And so once we knew we were back out touring, it's a matter of being prepared before you show up for the first show. So you're doing a lot of that when you're back home. You're going through the songs. You're starting to, like with me, I started to sing through the songs and just get really comfortable again. And then once we were at our first show, it's just a matter of like warm up properly. Everybody's doing their warm up, their warm up
Hmm.
exercises, and then from there you just go for it. You're back in show mode. You're back in what it is that you have to do in order to put on an amazing show. Yeah, it's that simple. Yeah.
Nice. This interview is airing in September 2. This is the day that you hit the stage in Rock in Rio, and
Right.
you are playing with
I'm sorry. I just spilled coffee all over the place. Holy shit.
no
Okay,
problem,
go
man.
for it. Go for
No
it.
problem. That's
Oh my
even better.
god. Okay, go ahead.
And you're playing all together with Sepultura, the biggest Brazilian heavy metal band that we have, with Gujara and with Iron Maiden. Actually, Iron Maiden is opening for you guys. So, do you know all of these bands, Sepultura, Gojira? Of course, you know Iron Maiden, but what about the other two bands?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, what's his name from Sepultura? The singer. Uh,
Derek Green.
yeah,
The
yeah.
former
So
singer was Max Cavalera, and now we have Derek Green.
yeah. Well, Cavalera, I actually toured with. We did uh, I guess it was the All Stars shows. I don't know if
Hmm.
you remember that, the rock,
Yes, yes.
yeah. So I was out and he was there, and he's such a great guy. He's such a cool dude. But yeah, I know Sepultura. I mean, I've heard their stuff over the years. Gajira, they're from France, right? They're French band.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're cool guys. Really, I think their music's really cool. Very talented band. Extremely talented, and I heard that they're big fans. So I haven't actually met the guys yet. So maybe I'll meet them there that day. Same with the Sepultura guys. Yeah, Maiden. We've done several shows with them over the years. We did a North
Mhm.
American tour with Maiden back in 2009. Um, and yeah, we've known them. I remember way back in 1995, we did a BBC show in the UK with Bruce Dickinson when he had a show there on
In his solo
BBC.
career?
Pardon me?
Was he in his solo career?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So he had this he had his own show on BBC, and he invited us to the show. We went on there and we played live. We did um, "Perfect Strangers" by Deep Purple
Deep Purple.
when we were on the show. It was really cool, and so yeah, we've known those guys for quite some time, and yeah, I don't think we go on until like what time is it? Midnight at Rock and Rio or something like that. I don't. I think it's pretty late when we go on
Yeah,
that night.
it'll be late. Like
Yeah, like eleven
maybe midnight,
thirty.
maybe 11,
Yeah,
kind of that.
something like that. Oh well, whatever. If anything, it'll be a midnight celebration. So it'll be fun. It'll be cool. We're looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome.
And I've read somewhere that you almost joined Iron Maiden in the 90s after Bruce Dickinson left the band. Can you tell us how this happened?
Uh, real simple. I'll do like an edited version of this, but basically, I'd already recorded images and words with Dream Theater, and we were out with Iron Maiden's manager Rod Smallwood
Yeah.
at a pub playing darts and drinking beer and doing all that crazy stuff. And it was just a simple question. It was Rod and his assistant manager Merck, this guy by the name of Merck, and they said, "Hey, have you ever considered, you know, um, singing with Iron Maiden?" And I said, "No." I said, because I'm with Dream Theater and we just finished recording images and words, and this is where I want to be, and this is where I want to stay, and I think this band we have a bright future ahead of us, and I'm not going anywhere. So and it was that simple. It was that I mean, it was just like a question they threw out. Hey, have you ever thought about singing for Iron Maiden? And I said, no, no, I'm here with these guys. These guys are awesome. This is where I'm sticking, you know. And it was that simple. It wasn't like, hey, let's sit down and have a big conversation about this, like. And so it was a fleeting moment, so to speak. And I just said no. I'm not interested, basically.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. Okay,
yeah.
so in a scenario that we had James Labrie accepting Ross Smallwood's offer, and look at everything that you did from that invitation towards today. Is that anything on your discography that will fit in Iron Maiden, or anything Iron Maiden did that you're listening to and say, that will sound even better in my voice?
No, No, you know what? Here, put it this way. Put it this way. You know, I know that Blaze came in and he sang for them for a while, right?
Yeah,
I don't know how many albums he did, two or three or something
two.
like that. But the fact is that Bruce was their singer, and Bruce went off to do a solo career, and uh, obviously Iron Maiden wasn't going to just stand still. I mean, they had to keep going because they're an amazing group of guys and all extremely talented. But at the end of the day, Bruce has always been their singer, and you know, he's what you think of as soon as you think of Iron Maiden. You think of Bruce. So no, I think that the way that it went down was probably for the best. They had a singer come in for a little bit, and then Bruce came back, and then they went on to still create great stuff and great music and do great tours. So you know, I think there's a everybody has stages in life. Everybody has chapters in life, and I think Iron Maiden going through that slight bit of transformation, even though it was transformative, it ultimately came back to what was their true identity with Bruce. Yeah,
Yeah, nice answer, man.
yeah, yeah,
Um, let's talk about Dream Theater. But before talking about the last album of Dream Theater, we were just talking about Sepultura, right? And I
yeah,
remember that in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, you
yeah.
participated in some shows with the Brazilian band Noturno.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
what are your memories of those shows, and how was this collaboration made?
Well, Tiago, the singer
Yeah,
from
my
Nocturnal,
friend.
he got in touch with my management, and then my management asked, "Are you at all interested?" And I said, "Well, let me hear what they have in mind." They told me, you know, we want to do some songs from your solo stuff, and maybe you know, a couple of like we'll even do like a Dream Theater, and would you be willing to jam with us and do like a guest appearance each and every night? And I was like, okay, you know, I'd heard about them before, but I hadn't really like sat down and listened to them. And then I sat down and listened to some of the stuff, and I was like, wow, these guys are really cool. They're talented, and I just said, yeah, okay, guys, let's do this. And it was different because for me, I was used to I'm more used to playing bigger rooms now or arenas or whatever it might be. And that tour was all about some small clubs, just really intimate and having a great time. You know, I had such a great time with those guys, and they're all freaking lovely guys, man. I love them all, and yeah, I mean, I actually just received an email from Fernando, the bass player.
Fernando Quesada.
Yeah, just yesterday. Actually, he was just saying, "Hey, I can't wait to see you. I know you're coming down here to do some shows. The Brazilian fans are waiting with anticipation." And I said, "Yeah, that's awesome, man." And I said, and he's running that school of rock or
School of
whatever
Rock.
for the,
Yeah,
and I said, you know what? I got to tell you, man, hats off to you. Kudos to you. Bravo. I think what you're doing for the youth is so invaluable. It's so precious because we're giving these kids that inspiration to say, "Hey, you can be an artist as well. You can amount to something that you can be so proud of, and take it with you for life." And it's people like Fernando and the rest of his staff that really make situations like this possible. It's very important. Very
nice.
important. Yeah.
Uh, um, Notorno is the former band of Achilles
No.
Priester, who was
Ah, yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
seven drummers who auditioned for Dream Theater when Mike Portnoy left the band.
Yeah.
And we Brazilians, we are very proud of Achilles. He's such a
Yeah.
big reference for all of us in heavy metal drumming.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't join the band, you had to choose only one. Do you remember how was the time you spent with him?
You know what? I'm going to tell you how much time I spent with him.
Okay.
I think I spent more time talking to him when he came to a show of ours, I don't know, back in like 2002, 2003, when we were down in South America, and he came backstage and I talked and I chatted it up with him for a while, more so than when he was at the audition, because when we were doing the auditioning, everything was very, very scheduled. So it was like,
Yeah.
okay, this drummer's here from 10 o'clock until 10:45. This drummer's here from 11:30 to. So everything was very, very punctual, so to speak. And so with him, I probably spoke to him maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes while he was there, because he wanted to warm up, he wanted to get prepared,
Yeah.
and we just shot the shit and, hey, what's up? And how you doing? Hey man, okay, get out there and nail this. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm gonna nail this. It was great. It was great. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Nice. Let's talk about Dream Theater. You guys just released your 15th studio album, View
Yeah,
from the Top of the World.
yeah.
So, how satisfied are you with the result of the record? And especially, how satisfying is finally winning a Grammy after such a
Mm,
long time? What it represents to you guys?
yeah. Hey, I think that the last album, A View from the Top of the World, I think it's a great, great, powerful, strong album for us. To be 15 albums into our career, I mean, the fact is I think the writing's on the wall. I think anybody listening to any one of our albums knows that we're still very, very, dedicated and passionate to what we do from album to album. And, maybe some bands, and I'm not saying that that is the case. I would hope it's not the case with any bands, but maybe they create a new album so they can have a new tour. But I mean, with us, it's all about just doing what we love to do, and that is to get in, to write, to record, and to create something that we can sit back and go, you know what? We nailed it. That's exactly what we were going after. This is something we can stand behind and be proud. And I think with the View from the Top of the World, I think we did that. I mean, you know, uh, you know, the there's 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 so much there to take in on that album, and I just think it's a great ride. It's a great ride for any Dream Theater fan, and us included. You know. But yeah, like and then winning the Grammy. I mean, oh my God, man. Uh, we had been nominees twice before, and everybody was always saying third time's the charm, third time's the charm, and I guess they were right because we did it. You were just talking about Katura and we had Deftones there, we had Rob Zombie against us, we had Macedon against us. I mean, these are all great bands. These are all artists that have been around for a while and are very dedicated to who and what they are as an artist. It was just an amazing, elated kind of feel. We were like almost euphoric, like once we won. So yeah, amazing. It really was.
Nice. Uh, have you ever stopped to think that even though it seems like it was yesterday that Mike Mangini joined the band, this is already the second longest lineup of
I
Dream
know,
Theater?
I know. It's insane, man. I mean, he's been in the band now, what, over 10 years now.
In
I
years.
think it's like 11 years now or something like that. And yeah, it's well, first of all, the fact that time is flying like it is, like that just blows my mind. We were talking about that the other day, and thinking that Images and Words is already 30 years old, and to me, there's still a big part of me that it just seems like it was just like not
Yeah.
30 years ago, like maybe a few years ago. It feels like to me, but so much has happened, and you know, I um, I just think that you know, uh, the fact that we're still doing what we love to do, and we've been doing this as long as we have been, 30 years plus, you know, we're blessed, and the fact that we all still love what we're doing is the reason why we're still doing it, you know, and I guess that will continue for as long as we all feel that we're in here for the right reasons. You know, I think the day that we can look at one another and go, you know, enough's enough, then obviously we'll be announcing that we've had enough. But I don't see that happening for quite some time yet. Yeah.
And how do you see the evolution? It's hard to talk about the evolution of Mike Mangini. He was already a beast when he joined the band, but I mean, uh, how much comfortable do you feel that he is with the musicality and the legacy of Dream Theater after 10, 11 years?
Well, I think that this is my personal, I guess, analogy. But I would say that Mike really came into his groove, no pun intended. He came into his groove as a member of Dream Theater with the writing, with playing, with being the drummer that he is, the caliber of drummer that he is, the musicality that he has to show. I would say that that really became evidently clear with Distance Over Time. When we went in to record that album, he was extremely involved in the writing from beginning to end. He was let free to go and do whatever he wanted drum wise. I mean, you know, within reason, right? We can't all just be going like nuts and hey, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. No, but he was able to really be himself as a drummer, and the way that he approaches things, and very methodical like, and just very uh, very what's the word I'm looking for here? Um, Very particular as to
Hmm.
how he goes about each and every part. And I think that we really started to see that transformation evidently clear from the time that we started doing Distance Over Time, and then even more so uh, in this latest one, View from the Top of the World. Once again, you know, involved from beginning to end with writing, with the drumming, his parts, everything. So, you know, and then I mean, come on, I mean, technically speaking, the guy can do anything he wants. He can play anything. He can adapt to anything, uh, and he's one of a kind. But I think what really kind of endears him even further, and brings that more profound experience of knowing and feeling exactly what Mike Mangini is as a drummer and as a musician, as a writer, is listening to these last two albums. And that's nothing, like, that's not taking away from him with, you know, the astonishing or the self-titled or dramatic turn of events. It doesn't take away from those albums, from what he brought to the table. But I think these last two albums are really, you're really getting the depth of what Mike Mangini is as a musician and as a drummer.
Yeah, you just mentioned Distance Over Time, and I think it's a great album. It's a phenomenal
Thank you.
album. My favorite song on this album is S2N, and it's my favorite song because of Mike's grooves on it, especially on the chorus. And I don't see you playing this song very often live. Why?
Which one at which end?
S2N.
Oh, S2N. Yeah, you know what? That is a great tune. That's a great tune. That's very that's a nice, beautiful nod to Rush, as far as I'm concerned. It
Yeah.
really, it really has that same kind of feel and that vibe, and even the melody, and everything like that. But yeah, uh, we haven't played it, you know, so it's always a possibility in the future. There's still songs that, you know, we haven't played off of View from the Top of the World either. You know, so I would say that eventually a song like that will make its debut. It's just I can't tell you when. But yeah, that's a
No,
cool tune. That's a very cool tune for sure.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. You guys release new records at every 3 years at the most. Since
Hmm.
you begun with Wandering and They Unite, it's kind of every 3 years a new record, and
Hmm.
almost always a new live show. Um, do you intend to follow this rhythm for how much longer?
I don't know, another 80 years.
Nice.
No, I mean, like I was saying to you earlier, I think it's all going to come down to, we're going to do this as long as we love doing it, and I think I would say comfortably another 10 years, you know, at least. Um, and but I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you everything that's going to happen in the next 10 years. So, you know, but I would say that the way that we look at things now, the way that we're looking at things presently, I can see us wanting to do this for at least another decade. And then at that point, we would have to say, okay, guys, from this, what do we want to do? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? And do we want to keep doing this? And so, another 10 years, we will have been doing this 40 years plus, right? So I think that's a pretty sweet career as far as I'm
Oh yes,
concerned, you
definitely
know?
is, man.
So yeah.
And it brings me another question: is there any secret for a band to be that active and at the same time have so few lineup changes? Is it the friendship of you guys? Is it the management of the
Well,
band? Is it the administration?
yeah. Well, all those factors, what you just mentioned, they definitely have a bearing on longevity. There's no doubt about that. I think that every band and every person on this planet goes through growing pains. You have to grow, you have to mature, and along the way, there's hiccups. There's stumbling blocks. There's adversarial moments in everyone's lives, and then when you have to be able to work together and interact with somebody that you're around quite often, you get to see all the quirks and idiosyncrasies that we all carry with us as human beings. So I think it comes down to accepting one another for who and what we are as human beings, first and foremost, and then appreciating one another for what we are collectively. And I think if you can go into that direction and really hold dear to that concept, I think you'll be successful and you will be able to attain longevity with whatever it is that you're doing in life. And in this case, being in a rock band. And it's not easy being in a rock band because, you know, I always say, hey, we all get married or something to that effect. We all have a relationship with one person. Well, when you're in a rock band, you're in a relationship with as many members that there are in that band.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of mutual respect and being able to appreciate each other for our differences, but for the many similarities that we have as well. And the fact that we're all in this together and that we're all trying to make something that we feel that we can be extremely proud of and 100% invested in it. So I think it all comes down to that. Granted, yes, we have amazing management with Frank Solomon and Jake Solomon. We have great agents, booking agents. Uh, we have an incredible crew. Our crew is just phenomenal. These guys, they're like family. They've been with us. Some of these guys have been with us. Oh my God, man, like 25, 20, almost 30 years. And, that also really keeps things together. And that also makes this thing work like it does. Whenever you see a live show, it's because of all our technicians, all of our crew guys that make this stuff happen. It's not just about us, it's about all the sum of the parts, for sure.
Great answer, man. Um,
Yeah.
Still about the lineup. Recently, I saw a video of you saluting Mike Portnoy in a show of Dream Theater in New
Hmm.
York. He was watching
Yeah.
in the audience, and I've read an interview of you talking about, talking to him again and how nice it was. You gave him a hug, and for the fans, it is great to know it. I am a huge fan of you guys, and most recently, Jumper Tucci announced the solo tour with Mike Portnoy.
Hmm.
So, how is the relationship of Dream Theater with Mike Portnoy today?
Great. It's great. It's great. I mean, comes a point in everyone's lives that you have to really consider what it is that you're that monkey on your back, and you have to come to terms with it. You have to confront it, and you have to transcend negativity. So if you're carrying around something that just eats away at you, what good is it? And I think for Mike and I to come to terms with all that garbage that went on for years and years, um, you know, uh, I think it just got to a point that let's put this behind us. Let's move on to a more positive uh, place and be the better for it. And I think that's basically what it came down to. Yeah, Mike and I we stay in touch once in a while by texting. Hey, what's up? And all this stuff. And it's cool. And the fact that he's going out with John on his solo tour, they're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, the fans are pretty excited about it. And yeah, I mean, life moves on. You can't. Uh, it took a while.
Yeah,
And I think if you talk to a lot of people in life, you realize that there have been these contemptuous and moments that it seems to linger for far too long. And fortunately, we were able to come to terms with it and move past it and move beyond it. So it's all good. Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So, John announced his solo tour with him, and you released a new solo record, A Beautiful
Hmm.
Shade of Gray.
Yeah.
And to my great surprise, it is totally different from anything you've released in your solo
Hmm.
career.
Yeah.
Those heavy, real heavy guitars and those electronic elements gave way to a more folk and hard rock sound. So, what made you choose this change? This change?
Uh, I really wanted to challenge myself with doing something for the most part that was different. I just, I've always over the years, and since I can remember, even when I was a kid, whenever I'd hear my rock heroes do an acoustic version of a song, to me it just struck so rich with me, so profoundly moving. And I remember, just saying to myself, kind of like in casual thought, eventually I want to do something like that. I want to do an album that, fundamentally speaking, it's coming from a more grassroots acoustic setting, and then build it from there. Even though it's got to be still a full ensemble, it has to feel like it's still something that you can easily sink into and gravitate towards. So with A Beautiful Shade of Gray, writing this album with Paul Logue, who's a phenomenal musician, and we just had such a great time writing this album. And not to mention bringing in, Christian Polkinen on keyboards and Marco Sfoli on guitar, soloing and all that, and then Chance Labrie on drums.
Yeah,
I think that all these guys to the came to the camp knowing exactly what was expected of them, and we wanted them to be able to ingratiate uh, their talent into the album so that it made it that much more impactful. And I think we nailed it. So to me, it was always something that I thought, if I can do this properly and we can approach these songs properly, it also allows me as a singer to be able to show you other sides of me so that it's much more uh, uh, deeply felt, and that you can really sink into my emotions and all the nuances and subtleties and inflections in my voice. You're really able to hear, you know, and that to me was something where, as I said, you know, it's still going to be rock based, but maybe there'll be some alternative elements going on in there, but it will still resonate with who and what I am as a musician, showing that I'm that much more diverse than maybe what you hear from me in Dream Theater or what you've heard from me in my previous solo albums. This is something totally different. And a lot of that came from being able to sit down with a musician like Paul Logue, and be able to say, okay, you know, this is the direction I think we should go in, and that him and I were on the same page from day one till day done, you know, and yeah, so I'm very, very proud of it. I think it came out amazing. Yeah.
And James Labrie is not only the drummer of this record; he's also the co-producer.
Yes.
How do you see his work in its entirety as a drummer and as a co-producer?
Well, because he when he came in, Paul and I had already written about 3 songs, 4 songs, and so we Paul Logue actually asked Chance to play drums on this album. I didn't. It was Paul, and it was better coming from Paul than me because it would have felt like I was forcing it. But Paul was like, "I love I love Chance's drumming. I think he's very talented. I think he would be perfect for this album." And I said, "Sure, I think so too." Um, so then when Chance came in, he started getting involved in the arrangements. Um, he recorded all my vocals right here in this studio here, like, you know.
Mm.
Um, and uh, he uh, he was very, very much involved, and even what he was bringing, like all the percussion and percussive elements that he brought into the album, and then just his drumming and the way that he let the drumming breathe and let it. Uh, it was very appropriate for each and everything. So he started having a lot of suggestions, you know, like, hey, you know, sonically we got to be thinking this and thinking that. So that's how he started coming into being the co-producers, because it wasn't just him writing drum parts
Hmm.
and bringing in percussion and all this other stuff. And he started getting involved with the arrangements of the songs and with the sound, with the feel, and it really was very instrumental. No pun intended again, but yeah, it really helped and lent itself to how this album ended up sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You recorded your solo record and A View from the Top of the World, or at least you had the ideas, the vocal ideas during the pandemics. And when I listened to the both albums, I listened to kind of two distinct singers. And
Hmm.
how much of a challenge was it for you to think on these two different ways of singing?
Not much, to be honest with you, because I mean, you know, well, first of all, I've been in the Dream Theater head for over 30 years, right?
Hmm.
So I know how I want to approach those albums. I've known how I've always wanted to approach any Dream Theater album vocally. And to me, it always starts with the melodies that we create, and then the lyrics say it all. And the same, so that applies to Dream Theater as much as it applies to my solo stuff. When I was writing the melodies and the lyrics for my solo album, Beautiful Shade of Gray, it almost it I already start to hear in my head uh, how I want to approach something vocally. You know, I already get a feel of, this is my approach. This is the texture that I want to create vocally, and this is the power or being a little more reserved makes sense so that it's very dynamic and it's a roller coaster ride basically, and it always has to kind of speak to me in the sense that you know I always look at singing as almost conversational. So in the sense that if I was sitting down in a living room with you having a conversation, how is it that I'm speaking to you? And how is it that I'm conveying what it
Yeah.
is that I want to get across to you? Well, the same stands for when you get behind the microphone in the studio and you start singing a song, you have to think about, okay, so when somebody hears this, what are they taking from it? Even if they don't understand the words, if there's a language barrier there, that they can still kind of feel it through the way that the evocativeness of your voice or whatever, or the expression in your voice pretty much paints the picture, what should be felt. And that's how I've always gone about anything that I sing or do.
No, here's how much I like Beautiful Shade of Grey. My favorite rock singer solo album is Before Your Morning by Chris Cornell,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
I
That's an
love it.
amazing album. That's
Phenomenal,
an amazing album.
phenomenal.
Incredible.
And I got some feels to Before Your Morning listening to your album because of the acoustic elements mixed with rock. I felt so much creative freedom in this record. It's not limited. It's not a metal album. It's not a 70s rock and roll album. It's not a folks
No.
album. You can sense some so much more elements, and that gave me that original feel that I had when I listened Before Your Morning at the first. I hope you keep
Yeah.
on this line with your next records, and I hope you start releasing records in your solo career as much as you do with Dream Theater every 3 years.
Yeah, well, on that note, we've already started writing some new material, and yes,
Oh,
we are keeping the new lineup as is, and we are going to do another album, and we're pretty stoked, and already the ideas are really really cool. So yeah, no, we're definitely going to do another album as such, and yeah, and you know what? You're talking about Chris Cornell. There's a reason why he did an album like that, and that is exactly what you said. You know, it was freedom. It was another vehicle for him to have this freedom of expression. You know, and that applies to Beautiful Shade of Grey. It's another vehicle to have that limitless ability to go wherever you want and say, this is what I am right now. And hopefully you can come along for the ride. You know, I'm hoping you're going to be right there sitting in the seat beside me along the way, because to me, it's music is, there should be no limitations. It should always be, you know, it has to start, man, with the heart, with the soul and the mind. We all come together, and that's what creates the magic. And you know, I can't say enough great things about Paul Logue and how extremely talented this guy is, and there's so much fun writing songs with him, and effortless. I mean, we just come up with these things, and it just easily flows, and it's yeah, you know, even flow.
oh man, nice.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so it's like you know, we're looking forward to getting the next um album written, and we'll take our time. I don't want to rush anything. And then when it's time to get back in and start recording all these songs, and we will do so. And yeah, we're looking forward to it for sure.
Do you have any touring plans, and do you think about doing a live recording of this record or about the next record?
Well, that's the thing, you know, like I mean, Dream Theater, I mean, we're so busy, and the time that we do have off, like while John's out doing his solo tour, uh, we're not all of us in this solo band that I have are available to go out then, and things take, you know, time. And then when we are, Dream Theater is going to be back out in the new year. We're gonna see. We're trying to make something happen. It's just a matter of trying to coordinate when that's gonna make perfect sense for us to go out, play these songs live. Because yeah, definitely. Do I want to play these songs live? Absolutely. And so do the other guys. So it's a matter of coordinating it, setting it up properly, and then getting out there and playing you know, as many shows as we can, and you know, and having a great time with it too, because we'd have a lot of fun for sure. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
James, to finish, I had to talk about this record right here.
Mm,
This is one
mm,
of the definitely one of the albums of my life. I think is a
yeah.
there's a before and after images and words in
Mm,
prog metal. It's not my favorite Dream Theater album. This one is Awake, but I
mm,
recognize the importance of images and words into the prog metal world.
yeah.
First of all, before talking about the album per se, I want you to tell us how did you join Dream Theater? I know you were in a band called Winter Rose before it, right?
Hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So Winter Rose, we were touring and doing stuff up in Canada, and we were getting looked at by Atlantic Records, was looking to sign us. And while we were out on this one particular tour, we were out with uh, a female artist, Lee Aaron, and her and I started talking. And Lee Aaron was called the Metal Queen. She was the Metal Queen. And anyways, she asked for a CD of the Winter Rose stuff, and I gave her a CD, and I said, "Yeah, here you go." And unbeknownst to me, she had thrown it at a couple labels. And one of the labels, Aquarius Records, asked if I would do a solo album, and I said no. And then one of the other labels, MCA Records Mechanic, um, down in the States, had Dream Theater signed to them, and they were looking for a singer. So that's how that came together.
Mm.
They became aware of me because MCA Mechanic was the label. They got this CD to the guys in Dream Theater. They heard me singing and went, "Holy shit, we got to get this guy down here and jam with us." And that's what happened. I went down in January of '91 and jammed with them. And then next thing you know, we started recording a demo. And then from there, that's all it all came about. Yeah.
Is it true that you were called back then Kevin Labrie, but then
Yes.
you had to change your name to James Labrie because of Kevin
Yeah.
Moore?
Yeah. Well, see, the whole thing was that there were already two Johns in the band. And then I said, "Oh my God, there's going to be two Johns, two Kevins." And I said to the guys, I go, "Look at guys, I've always actually loved my middle name, James." And I said, "So I'd rather go with James. That way, it kind of creates a little more diversity in the name sense." And I said, and I like I said, I love my middle name. It's just like, do you know what Paul McCartney's first name is?
No.
James.
Oh,
Yeah.
why does he change it?
Yeah.
A
I
great
don't
name,
know.
I think.
Well, he wanted to use his middle name. I don't know. I don't know, man. But anyways, so yeah, so that's how that all came about. It was just a matter of like, hey, you know what? Uh, I'm good with this, guys. Let's go and I'll do the the middle name thing. Yeah,
Okay, so now let's talk about images and words, how the process of writing it was. Tell us
yeah.
what that period was in general, and how does it feel to see this record standing the test of time so well?
Oh, jeez. Well, the album, a lot of it was pretty much written when I came into it. I mean, those guys have been working on those songs, off and on for like the last 2 years, when they were looking for a singer, and they kept, like they went through a few singers that they brought in, worked with for a while, then let go, and kept going on like that, right? But in the meantime, they're writing all these songs that eventually um, became a part of Images and Words. Even A Change of Seasons
Yeah,
Originally, we wanted to have that on Images and
it
Words,
was
and
a
the
double
label.
album, right?
Pardon me?
It was supposed to be a double record, right?
Yeah, but the label was like, no way, no way we're doing. It's your first album with Atco, which was Atlantic. They said, "There's no way you're doing your first album with us, and it's going to be a double album," you know. So, anyways, we came back and did that as an EP, as everyone knows. But like I said, a lot of the songs were pretty much put together, pretty much done. The album was done as far as writing goes, and it was just a matter of waiting for the green light to be able to get into the studio and actually record the album. And uh, we had to wait until October. I came into the band in January of '91, and we waited until, I believe the actual date is October 14th, 91, that we went in to Bear Track Studios and started to record the album. So yeah, we waited a good while before we actually got the green light to get in and do the album. Actually, in May of '91, we did some more demoing with the producer David Prater at the time. So we actually recorded some of the songs that were going to be on Images and Words again. He wanted to make a more pristine kind of demo version of the songs. And then from May of '91, then we waited until October of '91 and then got into the studio and started recording the album. And you know what? We had such a great time back then. I mean, it was like we were all young. We were all, so pumped and enthusiastic and ready to go. So when we were in the studio, it was just such a great vibe. Like we were just like, yeah, whenever a song would be recorded, and just psyched. We were completely psyched, and we just felt that something was happening here that, if given the proper attention and the proper promotion, could really uh, solidify itself in the music world, which it did. Fortunately for us, it did. It really did make a mark globally. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah.
Um, Images and Words came out in 1992.
Yeah.
And the beginning of the 90s, in the beginning of the 90s, the world of music was just being taken from grunge was taking over everything. Bands
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and then you still can say Dream Theater was succeed in that period. You had some popular video clips on MTV, like Another Day, and how do you
Pull me
explain
under.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, pull me under. How do you explain this? A
Well,
rock band being succeed in on grunge times. I love those bands, but it's
yeah,
kind of
same,
a
same. I love those
way
bands
more
too.
simple.
Yeah. Well, I think the catalyst was Pull Me Under. I mean, Pull Me Under blew up at radio. It went #1 at radio in the States for quite some time. Our video was being played about every freaking, I don't know, 20 minutes on MTV. So Pull Me Under really kind of like, it gave us this platform to sit on, and all of a sudden everybody's going, "Who the hell are these guys?" And that kind of led to people wanting to go out, get the album, listen to the album, take it for what it is, because Pull Me Under didn't really set you up for a song like Metropolis, or
Yes,
a song like Learning to
learning to
Live,
live.
you know what I mean? Or Under a Glass Moon. I'm sure when people got the album, they thought it was going to be a lot more like Pull Me Under, like just like more heavy metal and in your face. And then all of a sudden they're getting hit with like I said, like a song like Metropolis, or even a song like Surrounded, where it was kind of like, what
Hmm.
the hell's going on here? Like this song has so many different shades to it. And so, I really do, though. I think, and I've said this several times in the past, that if Pull Me Under hadn't happened, I'm not sure you and I would be sitting here talking today because it really did give us that momentum and that security to really set everything in stone as far as Dream Theater was considered, and it set us up for all this, the subsequent albums that came along the way, you know. So yeah, I think that if you want to know how that happened, I think that's how it happened. We had a song like Pull Me Under, went through the roof. It put us, on another tier, so to speak, which enabled us to go on and create the career that we've had. Yeah.
I've read somewhere, I don't know if it's true, that the record label expected Another Day to be the biggest hit of that album. Is that true?
I heard little rumblings about that they thought, yeah, that was going to be, yeah, a big single. Um, it's funny because then we also released a video for Take the Time, you know, and there's another song that probably blew people's minds that went, what the hell's going on here? I personally wanted Under a Glass Moon to be released as a single because I
Nice.
thought because I thought it had that kind of groove, dum 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 dum,
Hmm.
which was really in the same vein as like Pull Me Under, all that. So to me, Under a Glass Moon just kind of hit you upside of the freaking head once it gets into it. It has one of the most incredible guitar solos ever. I think John Petrucci's guitar
Oh
solo in that
man.
in that song is epic. It's one of the greatest guitar solos out there. Um, and so for me, Under Glass Moon, I think personally, I think that would have done more for us than Another Day or Take the Time. And but hey, whatever. At the time, we all collectively said, okay, yeah, let's go with this song. And the label's pushing Another Day, and then the label's pushing towards Take the Time. And it was kind of like, okay, let's just. I guess they know what they're talking about. Uh, no, but anyways, yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah.
Nice. And do you have any favorite song in Images and Words overall? And as a singer, there is any particular song that you feel like it was your best performance? Funny thing is,
Ooh.
my favorite moment in Images and Words, and maybe my favorite song,
Yeah.
it might surprise you, is Wait for Sleep.
Mm.
Every time I think about Dream Theater, that intro comes to my mind. That piano
Mm.
intro comes to my
Yeah.
mind.
That I remember the first time I heard that song. Kevin Moore uh, was playing it, and I remember going, "Holy shit, that's a beautiful song, man. That's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful." You know what? That's almost impossible, like for me to be
Yes.
able to decide, because what I did vocally, I think throughout that album was everything that I wanted to do. It was everything that I was at the time. I I could pretty much sing anything and everything that I wanted to sing, and it's with me singing a song like "Pull Me Under," it was I was thinking more like being aggressive. With me singing a song like "Surrounded," I wanted to be very emotional and very subtle uh, with these evocative type
Yeah.
elements coming into play. With Learning to Live, I wanted to be more theatrical. With Take the Time, I wanted to be more operatic. With Metropolis, I wanted to be both, soaring vocals, but at the same time, aggressive. So it just kept going. From song to song, always brought me into a new headspace vocally, and it was me being able to show a lot of who I was, like all the different layers of who I was as a singer. So it was a real tour de force kind of album for everyone in the band because everyone was able to shine gloriously for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I believe that's a fan's opinion. But in my
yeah,
opinion, your best performance in Images and Words. Well, all the songs are great. You
yeah.
nailed every song, but
Right.
Learning to Live, man, it just
Yeah.
it's just flawless.
Yeah.
You just take
Yeah.
everything you did, the entire album, and
Mhm.
you know, synthesize it in one song, and you
Yeah,
give here it is.
it was pretty crazy. I got a quick story for you. So I had to record that. That was the one song that I had to record in New York. I think I went to Avatar Studios. I can't recall exactly. Um, anyways, the uh, the rest of the album was recorded at Bear Tracks, vocally. I'm saying, and instrumentally as well. But they had a client coming in for a day at Bear Tracks, so we decided, myself, the producer David Prater, and then Doug Oberkirker, who was the engineer at the time. Great guy, I love Doug, amazing guy. We went into New York that day to record, and I recorded "Learning to Live." And when I was taking a break, so I was done all my lead vocal, and then I was taking a break, and I said, "Okay, guys, I'll come back in, and then I'll do all the background vocals." And I said, "So look, I'm just gonna go for like a 15-minute walk," and they were like, "Yeah, man, go. We'll get something to eat." And I said, "Yeah, okay, cool." So I walk out into the hallway of this big studio complex, and I bump into Roger Daltrey from The Who, and it was so
Wow.
cool. So Roger was there. He was recording his a solo album, and I said, "Hey, Roger, just want to say hi." And he was like, really cool. He's like, "Hey, man, so what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm recording a song here. I'm in a band called Dream Theater. We're like progressive type band." "Oh yeah, wow, that's really cool. Well, I want to wish you guys all the best. And here's to progressive music, you know." And I
Cool,
said, "Yeah,
man.
for sure." And I said, "Hey, man, I just really want to thank you for everything you've done." I said, "The Who are phenomenal. You guys will stand the test of time. There's no doubt about it." And he said, "Thanks, man, and all the best to you guys. I hope you guys all. I wish you guys all the success in the world." And that was it, you know. And then, but yeah, I was pretty buzzed from that encounter. It was really cool. Yeah.
You won the day there, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Really nice. James, well, I think this is it, man. Thank you so much for your time. I'm a huge fan. So for me,
Thank
it's
you.
kind of unbelievable to be able to talk to you and have that nice of a chat that we had. I hope you
Right.
enjoy as much as I did. So
Absolutely.
time is
Absolutely.
yours to say goodbye to our audience and tell us what we can expect from James Labrie and from Dream Theater for the future.
Well, to all our lovely fans, you know what? What can you expect? You can expect incredible shows when we come down to Brazil, and then what? In just over a week, we're going to be heading down, and also, you know, as far as uh, Dream Theater's future is bright and burning fully, and as far as my solo career, I mean, thank you everyone for how you received it. The reception has been overwhelmingly positive, and I look forward to creating another one, and look forward to just getting down into Brazil and throughout, and having a great time. So we'll see you soon.
Oh, can't wait for the next album, man. But I'm
Cool.
enjoying a lot it. Beautiful Shade of Grey.
Well, thank you.
Ok,
Thank you.
so I'll finish it in Portuguese, right?
Okay, sure. Yep.
Pessoal, espero que vocês tenham curtido a entrevista com o James Labrie, vocalista do Dream Theater. E para mim foi uma honra, assim, entrevistar um dos meus ídolos. Espero que vocês tenham curtido. Se vocês gostaram, deixem o like. Não se esqueçam de se inscrever no canal, ativar as notificações, nos seguirem nas redes sociais. Quem quiser e puder contribuir com o nosso trabalho via Pix. E é isso. Agora as próximas entrevistas e falou!